Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do a deep dive into a super interesting Forbes article.
Oh, yeah.
It's called The Benefits of Neurodiversity in Leadership.
I saw that one.
Yeah, and it just came out last week, so it's really fresh.
Uh-huh.
We're going to be looking specifically at how neurodivergent women can really bring some awesome stuff to the table.
For sure. For sure. I think that's such an important angle.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so right off the bat, the article hit me with this crazy statistic.
Okay.
It says that like 15 to 20% of the population is neurodivergent,
Wow.
but they're hugely underrepresented in leadership.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
In the UK, only 22% of autistic people are employed. Can you believe that?
That's a big miss, you know? Like, we're really missing out on a ton of talent.
Right?
And think about it. If we're only using a tiny part of the workforce,
Uh-huh.
we're totally holding ourselves back, like, less innovation, less growth, the whole deal.
It's like shooting ourselves in the foot.
Exactly. And then McKinsey did this research that showed diverse teams.
Oh, yeah, I read that one.
They actually make way more money, like 36% more profitable.
Yeah, diversity just makes sense, and neurodiversity is like a huge part of that.
Totally.
But when we talk about neurodivergent women, things get even trickier.
Right.
The article said almost 80% of autistic women aren't even diagnosed until they're 18.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Mm.
It's because of all these biases in how we diagnose people.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Like, women's behavior can be misinterpreted so easily.
And they end up not getting the support they need to succeed.
Exactly. It's a real problem.
It's like we're setting them up to fail right from the start.
Yeah, and even when they do make it to leadership, it can be really tough.
I can only imagine.
Sometimes their strengths are seen as, like, negative things,
Like what?
Intense focus, direct communication. Maybe they organize things differently.
But those are good things for a leader.
Exactly. They're huge assets, but they're often misunderstood.
It's like we need a whole new definition of what a good leader looks like.
I think so. Yeah, the old model just doesn't cut it anymore.
The world's too complex now.
Right, and neurodivergent women, they bring something unique to the table.
So let's talk about why neurodiversity is good for business.
The business case, yeah.
The article had some really cool examples.
Yeah, I love the EY one. They did some research and found that
Right.
teams with more women partners made more money, higher revenue, and better margins.
Interesting.
And then their neurodiverse centers of excellence.
Yeah.
They've generated almost $1 billion in value.
Oh.
It's not just about being nice or whatever.
Right.
It's about real results.
Okay, $1 billion, I'm convinced.
Right. And it's not just EY. The article talked about JP Chase,
Oh, yeah.
SAP, Goldman Sachs. It's happening everywhere.
So it's like a trend.
Exactly. Companies are starting to realize that neurodiversity is a good thing.
It gives them an edge.
Right. At JP Chase,
Yeah.
their Autism at Work program, their neurodivergent employees were way more productive, like 48% more.
That's incredible.
And that was just the pilot program. They've expanded it big time since then.
Wow, that's so encouraging.
It really is. Things are changing.
Okay, so we get it. Neurodiversity is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we actually make it happen?
Good question. The article had 5 steps.
All right, let's hear them. What's the first one?
Well, first, we got to change how we think about hiring.
Okay.
Those old ways of doing things, they don't work for neurodivergent folks.
Yeah, like what?
Focusing on social skills instead of what they can actually do on the job.
Mm-hmm.
We need to switch to things like skill-based assessments, structured interviews.
So people can show what they're really good at.
Exactly. Give them a chance to shine.
So before we get into more examples, I was thinking,
Yeah.
like when we say neurodiversity, it's kind of a broad term.
Right. Totally. Like it covers so many different things.
Yeah, so can we break it down a bit?
Sure, yeah. Neurodiversity is like this huge umbrella.
Okay.
It's got autism, ADHD, dyslexia, all sorts of things.
And each one is different.
Exactly. Each one comes with like its own strengths and weaknesses.
So give me an example.
Okay, so let's say someone has autism.
Uh-huh.
They might be amazing at focusing on details.
Oh, yeah.
Really good at like super precise tasks, but then
Yeah.
social situations or unexpected stuff might be tougher for them.
So it's like a trade-off?
Kind of, yeah. It's all about how those strengths play out in different situations.
So how does that translate to leadership?
Okay, picture this. You have a leader with autism.
Okay.
They're in charge of a huge project, right?
Uh-huh.
Their ability to plan everything out, spot problems before they happen, stay totally focused.
That's gold for a project manager.
Right. And someone with ADHD,
Yeah.
they might be bursting with creative ideas, always thinking outside the box.
The innovators.
Exactly. And that can lead to totally new solutions, breakthroughs.
So it's like what might seem like a problem in one context
Can be a superpower in another.
Love it. It's all about perspective.
And that takes us back to those strategies we were talking about.
5 steps to make it all work.
Right. The best companies get that it's not about fixing people.
Right.
It's about building an environment where they can thrive.
Okay, so let's get into some real examples.
Okay, let's do it.
The article mentioned skill-based assessments for hiring. What's that about?
So traditional hiring, it's all resumes and interviews.
Yeah.
But that can be really tough for neurodivergent folks.
In what way?
They might be awesome at the actual work,
Uh-huh.
but not so great at, like, the social dance of an interview.
Right, makes sense.
Skill-based assessments level the playing field.
So you're testing their actual skills.
Exactly. Like a software company, they might give you a coding challenge.
Instead of just asking, tell me about your strengths and weaknesses.
Right. Or a marketing agency, have you do a mock campaign.
So you see how they actually work.
Exactly. It's way more fair.
Love it. What about those sponsorship programs they talked about?
Oh, yeah. Sponsorships are huge.
Bigger than just mentors.
Way bigger. It's like you have this senior leader in your corner. They actively fight for you, open doors, get you noticed, all that good stuff.
So it's like having a champion.
Exactly. Someone who understands your strengths and helps you navigate the system.
That's huge, especially for women, right?
Especially for women, they often face way more barriers.
And the article also talked about flexible work arrangements.
Right. That's all about making people feel comfortable.
Psychological safety. Yeah.
Exactly. Like some companies, they have adjustable lighting,
Oh, wow.
noise-canceling headphones, stuff like that.
For people who are sensitive to noise and light.
Yep. It's all about those little adjustments that can make a big difference.
Makes sense. What else?
Remote work is huge, too.
Oh, yeah. Working from home.
It can be a game changer for people who find the office too much.
Creating your own space.
Exactly. A space that works for you.
And, of course, having a career path.
Oh, yeah. That's super important.
Like knowing where you're going.
And again, it goes back to ditching those old ideas of what a leader should be.
Right. Like not everyone's the same.
Exactly. Companies need to create personalized plans based on individual strengths.
So not one size fits all?
Nope. It's about figuring out what works for each person.
And mentoring can help with that.
Absolutely. Having someone to guide you, share their experience.
Tailored advice.
Yeah. It's about helping people reach their full potential.
And all of this needs to be measured, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We can't just assume it's working.
Data is key.
Exactly. Track those retention rates, see who's getting promoted.
Hold ourselves accountable.
Right, and create space for feedback.
From the neurodivergent employees themselves.
Exactly. They need to tell us what's working and what's not.
So it's a whole system.
It is, yeah. It takes effort on every level.
But the payoff is huge, right?
Huge, yeah. More innovation, more productivity, happier employees.
It just makes sense.
It does, and it creates a better workplace for everyone.
Win.
Exactly. So, we've been talking about all these big ideas, but I'm curious about your own experiences.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen neurodiversity in action?
Yeah, I actually have a story about that.
I really?
Yeah, so at my last job, we had this guy on the team. She had Asperger's.
Okay.
And at first, it was kind of tough, like communicating with him.
Uh-huh.
But once we figured out his style, how he liked to work,
Yeah.
he became like a total rock star.
I bet. What was he good at?
He was amazing with details. Like he'd catch errors in the code that no one else saw.
Oh, wow.
And he could focus for hours. Like seriously, never got distracted.
That's so valuable, especially for those big projects.
Right. And the best part was he was always willing to help others, like share what he knew.
That's awesome.
He became like the go-to guy for the whole team.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
It's like his so-called weakness was actually his biggest strength.
Exactly. And it shows you how important it is to create that safe space.
Where everyone can be themselves.
Yeah, bring their whole selves to work,
When we embrace all these different ways of thinking.
That's when the magic happens.
Totally. It makes us stronger, more creative, more innovative.
It's the future, man.
And the article talked about that. How neurodiversity is key for the future of work.
Oh, yeah. The world's changing so fast.
We need people who can adapt, be flexible, come up with new ideas.
And that's where neurodiversity shines.
It's like having all these different tools in your toolbox.
I love that. Yeah, different tools for different jobs.
So instead of trying to make everyone the same,
You need to celebrate those differences.
recognize the unique strengths that each person brings.
That's what makes a team unstoppable.
That's like a superhero team.
Right. Each with their own superpower.
And when you combine those powers...
Boom, you can achieve anything.
I'm getting chills. This is so inspiring.
It is, right. And it all comes back to that shift in mindset.
Letting go of the old ways.
Embracing the power of individuality.
It's about creating a world where everyone feels valued.
Seen, heard, appreciated for who they truly are.
So beautifully said. I think we should leave our listeners with that thought.
Yeah, what can you do to make a difference?
In your own little corner of the world.
It doesn't have to be huge. Every little bit counts.
Educate yourself, talk to people, maybe even push for changes at your company.
Be an advocate. Speak up.
Because creating a more inclusive world,
That's on all of us.
it's not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do.
It unlocks so much potential for everyone.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation.
I agree. It's been really eye-opening.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
The pleasure was all mine.
We hope you learned something new today and feel inspired to make a difference.
Go out there and be the change.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep pushing for a better world.